For my presentation, I tried to do a screen recording on my laptop, but it just wasn't working, so I hope this works fine. I decided to do an overall theme for my formal assignments, which is staff member at the CRCC dorms, whether that be in a CA or RLC. An RLC is a resident life coordinator, kind of like the boss of the CAs. The 4 formal assignments I chose to do was a proposal from a CA to an RLC for a Super Bowl party, the memo for RLC to the CAs summarizing a team meeting, instructions from the RLC to residents for an end of semester checkout, and a recommendation report to improve safety at the dorms. For the proposal, my audience was the RLC who approves dorms events and plans. I was kind of writing it myself here. The layout was kind of simple. I just had a summary of the event overview and purpose. I had the next sections was just objectives, kind of what I wanted to achieve for the party, my activities that we're going to have in the party, the budget and the timeline of the party. And then I talked about the justification, kind of the justification for the budget mainly, and which was community building, safety, and inclusion. Then I wrote my conclusion for the proposal. The purpose of the proposal when I was trying to write it was to present a well-planned out event and to get the budget approved. I kind of chose to write about this because as a CA, I have to put on events and I have to propose events, and this is one I'm trying to do in the future. So I thought it'd be fun to write about when proposing these events. I just had to check a few boxes and write like a tiny summary of what it's going to be. So it's nothing like this. So it was just kind of fun to write about that. For the memo, my audience was the CAs, and I was writing as the RLC. The layout was also kind of simple. I just had a subject line, and I tried to write a clear purpose of the memo. And the next sections I talked about was the overview, key discussion points, action items, upcoming deadlines, and reminders. And the purpose of my memo was to summarize a team meeting discussion. And this is kind of like a hypothetical team meeting discussion. And this one was also kind of cool because it kind of tied other formal assignments together. For like in my discussion points, in my key discussion points, I talked about winter safety and maintenance, which will come kind of in my report section. And then I also talked about a Super Bowl party and like how into like the plan for that. And so it kind of just tied other formal reports together. So I thought this was pretty cool. This is also my shortest formal assignment, but I think that's a good thing because memos are supposed to be short and to the point. The next one was the instructions. My audience was dorm residents preparing for move out. I was writing as the RLC. The layout for my instructions was an intro, which I tried to write the importance of the process. Then I wrote the steps. I wrote ordered instructions for inspection, cleaning, and key returns. Next, I talked about the checklist and making sure residents complete their task correctly. And then I talked about consequences, worries about fees, and unmet expectations. The purpose when I was writing was to create an easy move out process for residents. I chose to write about these instructions because last year I was a resident and there wasn't quite any. I kind of just got told to find my CA and have them check me out, but my CA was never around and it was just kind of like very chaotic. So decided to write some instructions for a move out. The last one was a recommendation report. I saw this as an option, so I thought it'd be fun to write about it. I don't know why. I don't have a specific reason of why I chose to write it. But I kind of just focused this on like a safety research recommendation report. My audience was focused on not just one specific person, and it was just kind of just like the administrators responsible for safety and emergency protocols. I wrote it as the RLC, and my layout was the introduction. I talked about the background, the purpose, and the reasons for safety measures. Then I talked about the discussion, which I went over fire safety, active shooter preparations, and winter disaster response. And this discussion is where I had my researches and my blanking on the word, where I did researching, where I did my research and citations for the formal assignments. But next I talked about the recommendations, clear steps to better some protocols and address some problems. The purpose was to look into the weaknesses in the current safety measures. The next steps I have to do is revise the heading of the memo assignment, complete the conclusion for the instructions assignment, add a table of contents to the portfolio, write the portfolio introduction, create individual introductions for each formal assignment, recommendations for the report, and then doing the citations for the report. For my future applications and takeaways, I want to be an engineer in the future, and so I have to do a lot of instructions and technical reports. So this class definitely helped me with that. The two main things I've learned is a writing structure and structuring my writings correctly for like instructions and technical reports. This class was definitely different. I was definitely better at creative writing, so I had to change my writing process a little bit. But these skills will help me communicate complex ideas in engineering projects